Hello, my name's Ken Miller and welcome back to Practical 4 of the training course. In this practical we're going to learn how to create data tables. So once again I'm going to go to my dashboard and I'm going to select my categories and I'm going to jump to Practical 4. Again, I've got a nice blank page ready to start. Now obviously within Pan Intelligence we are a data visualization tool, so we love visual elements within a dashboard. But that's not exclusively what we do. We also allow you to create data tables. So what we're going to do in this practical is create two types of data table, a simple list-based data table, and secondly, we're going to create what's called a crosstab data table. So I need two chart cells for this practical, so I'm going to split my chart cells up top to bottom, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus sign here. Now, as we found out in practical 3, the dashboard is starting off and we'll want to create a bar chart by default. What we want to do in this case, however, is create a table. So in the chart types, I've got table chart type here. If I click on table dark chart type, it'll be ready to start creating me a table. Now, if I flip back to data, my view looks slightly different from before. But what this allows me to do is to add as many objects to the data table as I want. So if I drop down my sales data connection here, you'll see I can select either measures or dimensions in this case. And the first thing I'm going to select is product. So I'm going to go down my list and click on product, and it will be added, and you'll see it appear in a very simple data table on the right hand side. Now if I click this little plus at the top here, that lets me go into add mode. And what I can do here is now select all of the different elements I want. So I'm going to click on insurer, and because I'm in add mode, I don't have to re-click the add button. It's just going to let me keep adding fields. So I can select insurer. I'm going to select campaign, and if I can't find campaign, I'll come into here and search for it. So I want my campaign, so start typing and it will find that object for me. I also would like my cancelled rate. So cancelled rate, a measure. I want my conversion rate. And again, I just start typing these things and it makes it very easy for me to find them. And I want my total commission. So if I just remove that filter and start typing total. So I get my total commission element there. And I've got all of the fields that I want within my data table. Now really quickly, if I want to change the order of items, I can click up here and select them. And I can just use the up or down arrows to go and select those items as well. Whilst we're in here as well, it's worth mentioning the pagination. If I have a large data table with hundreds and hundreds of rows, but I only want to show 50 rows at a time to the user, I can type 50 in here and it will record set the data for me. So I can find the first 50 rows, go to next page, and next page. But in this case, I'll make it nice and simple, and I'm going to create a simple table. Up at the top, all I need to do is give this a name, and its name is going to be simple table. I'm going to save that table, and you'll see it appear in my dashboard. Now, just while we're on data tables, they are a bit special, and there's a couple of things that we can do with a data table that we couldn't do with a regular chart. So first of all, we can download that data as a CSV file. We can take it straight to a PDF, or we can copy it straight out to Excel as well. So with the data tables, that gives you that sort of flexibility, and the users can just take that data away. Now, as we get into the supervisor part of the course, you'll find that these are options that you can actually take away from users as well. But there we have it, our first simple data table. What we're going to do on my bottom cell here is we're going to create a crosstab. And we do that in exactly the same way as we create the regular table. So I click the plus, I come to my chart type, I select my data table, I go back to data, and I start adding the objects that I want in here. So I want my product. So I find product. I click the plus to go into plus mode. I want my region. Now you can create a crosstab in various ways, but I tend to just put all the objects that I want in my crosstab in first of all. I want my cancelled rate, and I want my conversion rate. Now what I want to do is turn the region into the header of my crosstab. And for those of you who don't know what a crosstab is, you're about to see, it's the sort of table that you will have laid out in Excel many, many times. essentially what I'm going to do is select region and click on this button here to turn it into a header. And when I click on my region, I now get a lookup table where I can look at car insurance, cancelled rate for the north or cancelled rate for the south, life insurance, conversion rate for the north, conversion rate for the south, etc. But that's all there is to creating a simple crosstab. And again, just as I with the table, I'm going to name this, I'll call this simple crosstab. Click the save button, and I'll now have the crosstab on the page as well. Now what we're going to do, if you've got time, we're going to go ahead and change our dashboard chart to look a little bit like a dashboard now as well. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to split my chart cells. So this in here, I'm going to try and make this look exactly like the dashboard looks on page 13 of the notes. So I'm going to split both of my chart cells down here. Now what you'll notice is I want simple table over on the right hand side, and again there's no simple drag and drop, so what I need to do is go into my chart library, select simple table and click it, so I had it twice effectively. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a chart in my top left hand corner here. So I'm going to go back in. I could edit a chart, but actually what I'm going to do is create a brand new chart, and this is going to be my top 10 campaigns. So this is very similar to a chart that we created with our salespeople. So I'm going to select my column type. On my x-axis, what I want is I want my campaign. So I'm just going to select campaign, and on my numerical axis, I want my policy count. So get my policy count. I'm going to jump straight to attributes, and I'm going to show data values. Now, in the first chart, we put the sort and then we put the filters in. There's actually a shortcut in here. So if I go in and add my filters and select my call count, policy count in here, so let's just filter to find that, and I select my top 10. The dashboard is clever enough to know that when you do a top 10 chart, actually you also want to sort it, so you can get away with not having to put the sort in there. But what we'll do is we'll rename this to top 10 campaigns and save that chart. So we'll now have the chart in the top left hand corner, and again down in the bottom right hand corner we're going to create a simple chart which looks at the policy count by our salesperson. So we're not even going to have to change the chart type. We're just going to go straight down to here, select our salesperson, select our call count, and we're just going to call that simple chart. And if you follow those steps, you should have exactly what I have on my end result of Practical 14 on page 13 of the notes. Okay, thank you very much.